We are back, and we have the result of who advanced between Joubin and Brazinio. And moving on to face Bant Roediger, US 1113 in the final, is Brazinio the Destroyer, winning pretty convincingly against Joubin in that heat. The body of work was quite complete early on for Brazinio. The second half of that heat, a little slow wave-wise. Joubin never quite got fully into his flow there. He has sailed 8 heats today. That is a monster run. Hats off to Camille Joubin. One of, if not the story of this day today. No question. What a run for Camille. He can definitely feel good about finishing third in this event. And the line of scalps that he has left behind him would fill anybody's trophy case. Riders from all over the world. France, Germany, Japan, but not Brazil. Brazinio put the halt to Joubin's campaign. And Brazinio now squares up against Roediger. We're looking at Monteleo north side. We're looking at beautiful Trasleo here in Cabo Verde. A one-of-a-kind island with awesome windsurfing conditions. And the ability for us to finish this event in its entirety. We just went through the entire double elimination. Postponement flag down. Next will be yellow. And when yellow's down, green will be up and this heat will be on. This is the double elimination final. And I'll explain one thing here. Is that the winner of this heat will determine whether or not we're sailing again or if the competition's over. To elaborate specifically, if Bant Roediger dispatches Brazinio, Bant Roediger wins the 2022 SOMWR PWA Cabo Verde World Cup. If Brazinio manages to dispatch Roediger, we will sail again in what is known as the sudden death final. But we are not there yet because Roediger hasn't lost throughout the course of this competition. He needs to lose twice because it is double elimination. Brazinio did a lot there to halt Joubin. Can Roediger halt Brazinio? We are moments away from finding out. Roediger to the right of your screen. Brazinio in the bright yellow Goya sail. Roediger is riding a hot sail 3-batten design and his new board sponsor Flicka from Slovenia, designed by creative, like-minded individuals with a huge love for the sport. And they have supported Roediger with very good boards. And the tech behind the boards, well, it's pretty simple in Roediger's case. If you have the talk show and you have watched it, you will have learned that Roediger only rides 75-liter boards. That's his volume. But he mixes up minute details such as rocker pattern, outline, rail thickness, rail flow. Roediger's really in touch with what he rides. Brazinio has a massive quiver of boards as well. Brazinio works with different board volumes and different rail flows as well. He's not just a one volume guy. Yellow flag flying. We are under a minute to the start of this double elimination final here. Both of these riders are not only efficient, but they are proficient in the maneuvers, in the scale. The heat's on, the green flag's up. 22-minute heat. Here we go. All the marbles, folks. This is it. Brazinio asking himself, what am I on here? What do I got? Is this going to be a score? He's got a full head of steam. He's following this wave really low. He bottom turns and he kicks out. There's a little bit of a waste of time. He was a little too far down low to make anything of it. Roediger, however, he's sliding in upwind here, building his case. He's on something that he's probably going to ride. It's a counting ride. Rail-to-rail slash turns for Roediger. Opening up his ride here. First ride of the final. A little anticlimactic, I must admit. I thought there was something on the lower part coming. Conditions suitable. We really want to see some waves come in here. We want this to be on par with everything else we've done today because this is a freaking final. And advantage nobody. Both of these riders rip in these conditions. Roediger checks his watch. Plenty of time. Brazinio checks the swell. Time to get on the right wave in this exchange because Roediger's right there to lap up the scraps. And he's playing it smart. He'll get behind Brazinio. He's also upwind of Brazinio. The one thing that Brazinio did in that last attempt at a wave ride was he went pretty far downwind. But it's not going to hurt him because he's right back in the arena here. And this is certainly a little bit of an in-between moment in the waves. Brazinio attacks, and he is right back where he was when this heat started. One score on the board for Roediger. It's a low score. And it's a score that all the most likely by the end of this heat won't even matter. Thank you for joining us. Wherever you are in the world, this is going to be tape delay here, but let me tell you, it will tell the story. And it will tell the story of Bernd Roediger, US 1113, and Brazinio. BRA 253, I think, is his number. Bernd Roediger, upwind on a very nice looking wave. Bottom turns quickly, hits the lip. Instantly gets his inside rail into the wave, and he does a flawless goiter. And keeps riding. Brazinio from him. Brazinio downwind, blasts a lip, big aerial. Let's keep it from being a one-move wave. It's a one-move wave except for the whitewater hit. And is he down low enough to get another hit? Not quite with the angle. You see what happens down low there. Roediger strikes. The samurai sword is out early because he is going for the kill. And he draws blood. Roediger had a very nice wave there. It was a left fade line into a wide bottom turn, lip slice, bottom turned again, goiter make. He's on the board in the biggest way, in a really, really good way to start the seat, and Roediger's got 2 scores. Brazinio's sitting on 1 score, and it's a low score. Roediger already with a keeper here. He does not want to go to the sudden death final. The sudden death final can sometimes be like the equivalent of penalty kicks. But it's a little better than penalty kicks because it's just a brand new heat. but it's going to take Brazinio beating Roediger right now, or this contest is done and dusted. And regardless of the nice personalities that both of these sailors possess, right now, all bets are off. And there's no friendships in final heats. These are career-defining moments, and this has been a career-defining contest for Roediger, and he's not going to give up his first-place position without a fight with everything he's got. And Brazinio and Roediger are heading in together, and both of them are on respective waves. But what I will say is it looks like Roediger's waves got a little more substance to it. And Brazinio would be and is wise to quit on that wave. And Roediger also transitions out of there. Roediger is a master of style and technique, but he's also got this speed rotation thing going on. It's video game level amplitude. Brazinio obviously possesses this too. What it ends up looking like when you compare the two is that Roediger has this flair on the rotation. Brazinio has this power stamp to it. Sometimes Brazinio makes it look a little too easy. Would be the only criticism I could lend to that. Sometimes he just makes it look a little too easy. There are important things these competitors need to do to be able to differentiate themselves from one another. And sometimes one of those things in relatively marginal situations such as this is to make it look physical. Roediger right where he needs to be in this. Dusts off, gets ready to ride. Bottom turns under the lip, makes contact. One more section for Roediger. This is his third counting wave. Connecting the dots on his flicka board. These things look like they work really well, guys. And Roediger with a stylish kick out. What Roediger has single-handedly done to legitimize the Flicka brand in the course of this contest is not to be understated. And I really applaud that brand for supporting Roediger because they have done him right. And he has reciprocated that with a top result no matter what happens in this event. Roediger has proved his worth. Not only to that brand, but to that guy right there holding his camera, filming it for his YouTube channel. There are your two finalists. Brazinio on the lime green Goya. A very beautiful looking sail in its own right and very effective looking sail. Here comes Brazinio, full head of steam down the point, over sheets. Realizes he's not quite in sync with the rotational side of things, but he gets a very nice slashy turn, continues his ride, making it look like Little Hukipa. And he cuts out and heads back out with arguably one of his keeper scores for sure. Roediger on a really nice looking wave. He is reading this perfectly. He's on the high line to the lower bowl. Roediger, bottom turns. Roediger hits the lip. Roediger, bottom turns again. Gets a floater, makes it. The wave itself was my favorite part about that ride. It had that beautiful Cape Verdean lime green look to it as it just reared up on the reef and said, "Hit me. Hit me, Bant." And Roediger obliges. And in my opinion, takes a further lead in this final. Brazinio can take a punch. Hell, he can take 2 punches, 3 punches, 4 punches. And he can punch back too. Roediger on the inside, letting Brazinio go search for waves. Roediger's going to play position with this, doesn't want anything to do with it. Roediger should realize that the more he keeps Brazinio busy looking for waves, the easier his heat's going to become. Brazinio, however, has connected with something of a dangerous sort of looking wave because it's in the middle part of the peak here, and it's going to form at the lower bowl, which is infamous for producing high scoring moments like this. Bottom turn cut back combo, the wave hits the reef. Here's Brazinio, fully extended out on a one-handed goiter make, which is going to absolutely even this affair up. What a move from Brazinio. He is in the game, in it to win it. What a wave from Brazinio. This is a great exchange in this final. That's exactly what Brazinio needed to do. Roediger is on his own version of this. He's a little further upwind too. Roediger, high and tight, bottom turns, trying to get the extension to get more distance out of this ride. And he slides his cut back and mistimed it a little bit. A little bit of a mistime there. And Roediger is going to have to hop over this white water and say to himself, yeah, you know, I maybe should have hit that one section or what I did. Short memories are the best memories to have in this situation because you have no time to turn back the clock. You've got to do everything you can to summon your best effort. And Brazinio knows this. And Brazinio's on a really nice looking wave. The lower bowl is happening. The wind is perfectly side offshore here. Here comes Marcilio Browne, the destroyer. And he gets pitched over the falls. And the momentum has swung yet again in what wasn't a difference maker wave. In what would have probably been at least one of his higher scores, but maybe not the keeper. Roediger's body of work here in this double elimination final is not complete, but he has done what he needed to do to make his case to become the champion of the 2022 SOMWR PWA Cabo Verde World Cup. Kai Kachudorian, a.k.a. Flycatcher, bringing it to you live, and I am proud to be doing so. Thank you, all of you, for tuning into this historical day here in Cabo Verde. And to recap, we decided that today would be the day to go mobile here. We had no conditions at Punta Preta, and we were greeted with more than contestable conditions here. In the middle of the island, right by the gap of Monteleo, sits Trasleo, a.k.a. Secret, a.k.a. Little Hukipa. And these two sailors have shared Hukipa for well over a decade. And I find that the dynamic between Brazinio and Roediger, there haven't been a ton of encounters between the two. There have been some, but not a lot. This is by far the most important heat they've ever shared. It's a final, for crying out loud. And it has major world title implications. It has yet to be determined if Roediger is going to follow the PWA World Tour to Pozo. A lot of the judges are certainly calling out for it. Roediger wants to prove he's one of the world's best windsurfer. If not the world's best windsurfer, he's going to need to go. Because it's not all about Cape Verde any more than it's all about Pozo. It's the full body of work, you guys. And Brazinio has followed the tour for quite a while. And he's won a title. And he wants to win another one. And this is a really good start to his year no matter what happens in this heat. And Brazinio's had a very interesting week here in Cabo Verde. His highlight reel is full of bright moments on the water. And Brazinio, he's going to choose this wave He's going to sheet in off his bottom turn and drift the lip. This thing's feathering up for him, begging him to hit it, and he makes a perfect air taka on a pretty small wave. But it was a perfect air taka. And he mixes it up a little bit. Size of wave should definitely count here. You wouldn't want the judges to get completely carried away with that move, but it's probably one of Brazinio's keepers. I will say that. Roediger pumps his sail, and he is getting busy as the panel shines translucent light back at the camera. Roediger on a high line. Roediger on a really nice wave at the lower bowl bottom turns, and thought about rotating and just skipped that idea altogether. And that's kind of a turning point in this heat, because that was a wave that could have been ridden a little differently. But Roediger, what he did, he was going to blow the tail and do his signature Chewbacca taka. It was coming. Chewie was ready to go. Really nice set coming here in the middle part of the bay. I see a really nice wall coming in. Would Roediger consciously want to tack on this? He does not. Brazinio's behind him. Brazinio scanning the horizon, looking for his opportunity to take the lead in this heat now. Brazinio sheets in his sail, gathers his apparent wind. Bottom turns mid-face. This thing lines up for him. What can he do? An anticlimactic kick out. And what you see, the wind angle changes on some of these bigger sets at the lower bowl. It rolls in a little fat. Oh my goodness. All the marbles here at the 2022 SOMWR PWA Cabo Verde World Cup. Massive, massive heat here. Brazinio. Brazinio and Roediger both kick out of their rides. Now it's going to be a pick and choose affair all the way down until the end of this heat. Wave selection is going to be everything. We know both of these riders are wholly capable of the rotational maneuvers and the surgical dissection shredding that is going to be presented once they do catch those waves. Now it's just a question of finding and getting on those waves. That's the name of the game now. Brazinio riding a version of the Goya Custom 4 Pro 94 would be my guess. Riding it as a quad almost certainly, like he likes to. These low entry flatter rocker type of boards excel in these conditions because they offer glide and they offer sustained speed with the driving turns that a quad provides. Roediger is also riding a quad. Obviously, it's a 75-liter board because that's all he rides. And I wouldn't really be able to tell you much more about the Flicka design than that. Roediger sheets in and has a wave that's going to offer the lower bowl. Keep it on Roediger here. He's got his knees bent. He's got his torque going. He's incrementally increasing his speed. He's bottom turning under the lip, and he rotates, and he whips it around on a awesome-looking taka. Roediger, the samurai, has struck. The sword is out. That was a really nice-looking maneuver. It was kind of a one-hit wave, but you know what? It was a deadly strike. And Brazinio looks up in terror at his competitor as he raises his weapon and says, "Look at me. Look at me. I will crush you." It's not over yet because Brazinio is just laughing at him. He's like, "Dude, you're not crushing anybody. I'm going to turn you into a pretzel. I'm going to twist you into a little pretzel band. You know how I'm going to do it? I'm going to twist you and take your hair and twist you into a pretzel, boy." If he could make this into a cartoon, it would be the ultimate cartoon. And there would just be sparks flying everywhere. And it's almost like it's a cartoon because, thankfully, Cabo Verde is providing us with beautiful conditions here. Here comes Brazinio, ready to answer back. Fully sheeted in, tweaked air, plants his landing. Last stanza of this gets a rotation. Oh, just goes for the full blowout tail there. Roediger, bottom turns, doesn't have as much wave to work with, gets out of there. Roediger unstamped a beautiful taka. And he did have, you know, some wave length on the ride, but there wasn't much more done on that. That heat's over. Heat's over. And we are about to find out if we're going back out or if that's all she wrote. Postponement flag up. We will wait for Duncan, and I will summarize what I remember seeing in this heat. Brazinio and Roediger went toe-to-toe, that's for sure. That was a toe-to-toe battle. Played at the highest level with all the stakes. Everything at play for that one. And I'm like a canary in a cage. People are looking at me like, why am I stuck in this van looking like some sort of Martian talking the way I am? Because I'm fired up and I just brought this to you not live. Alex Mussolini doesn't know who won. He was a judge in this heat though. Alex, come here real quick. Thank you. One of our judges, Alex Mussolini, who knows this place well. I just want to hear a little bit from you. You're talking to the mic about what you felt about that final. I don't need you to tell me who won or didn't. Just come here real quick and just give me your impression on this.
I mean, two of the best riders in the world fighting against each other in some tough conditions, and they did their best, and let's see the result.
Thank you, Alex. Alex and I, we had a monster run back in 2008, made the top 8 at this very spot. It's kind of a nostalgic moment for us from the other side of the lens. And Alex Mussolini has the full respect of all the sailors here because of his abilities as a rider over the span of his career. And it's nothing but good for the sport. And this is kind of it. As you see Roediger come in, he's got to have a little word with Brazinio here. We're looking around because it's really evident one or two things are going to happen. We're either going back out to settle this thing, or it's done and dusted. Here comes head judge Duncan Coombs to speak to both of the competitors. I'm at the edge of my seat because I don't know what happened in terms of the result. I'm not completely in touch with what the judges are giving. And we are about to find out. We are about to find out. Roediger casually walks towards the area where they will be announcing it. Brazinio. Both of these guys did so great to make that final. Duncan explaining it. And Bernd Roediger appears to have fended off Brazinio. And I believe that that is all she wrote for this contest. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernd Roediger, the Samurai, has won the 2022 PWA Cabo Verde World Cup.